Should you get a loan as a business owner? That is a question that I've come across. Of course, I own my own business, small business, and it is an exterior cleaning business. The question is, should one get a loan? Before I answer that question, there's a scripture that says, a borrower is a slave to the lender. A borrower is a slave to the lender. There are many people. I've gotten loans in the past. I remember I got a loan to get a car. I think it was my first car that I bought myself. I got a loan to buy that car. It carries you from one point to another. But getting a loan to put into something that depreciates in value, it is something that I would not advise anyone to do. Anything that is depreciating in value, one should not think about getting a loan. I don't even advise getting a loan at all, because at least I've experienced that moment where you have a loan and there's that stress that you have every single month to pay out that loan. And the money that you're paying out, you could use that money, you could put together that money, and you could start a business. Dave Ramsey, I heard this from Dave Ramsey. He says, the most powerful wealth building tool is your income. Especially you finish university and now you're excited, you get a new job, you're starting to earn. That income, you can literally use it to leverage it to do other things. And that is starting something that will generate more income than consume that money. So just imagine you're just new into the working environment, it's a new job, you're getting pay, and then you get a car on a loan. Once you get that car on a loan, you're going to start servicing that loan. Every single month you're going to service that loan. And the day you default on that loan, they will come and repossess that loan, that car that you borrowed, that you borrowed money for. So should you get a loan? Based on the scriptures, a borrower is a slave to the lender. A borrower is a slave to the lender. There's a type of stress that you have when you owe money to someone. Sometimes you don't even sleep properly in the night because you're thinking about that debt. And when you have something that is bothering your mind, you're not even productive. You're always thinking, you're always stressed out. You can't sleep. There's one time I was working with this friend of mine, and we had a disagreement. Sometimes it is good to agree to disagree. In our conversation, we had this topic of getting a mortgage came up. Me as a person, I don't advocate getting mortgages. I really don't. There are many disadvantages of getting a loan to get a house. As I said, for me, I would advocate if you were to get in money, especially probably getting money from family members, people that know you, and those are people that you could lean on to help you. And sometimes it's not even best to get a loan from them. They could, from the abundance of their heart, the goodness of their heart, they could give you money to start something of your own, but not borrowing money from them. Now, coming back to a mortgage. A few weeks ago, actually, I discovered the meaning of the word mortgage. For those who speak French, death in French is called mort. M-O-R-T, mort. That's death. Then mortgage, like it is a death payment. Like you pay this debt for the rest of your life. You pay for the rest of your life. Sometimes people retire and they're still paying a mortgage. Just think about it. That's a long-term debt that you have that weighs on you. And the time you default, they're going to repossess that house. And then you've been paying, for years you've been paying on this house. And anything can happen in the market. We've seen the 2008 crisis, the financial crisis that we had in 2008, and many crises that we've had. People lose their homes. People literally lose their homes, and they've been paying on those homes for a long time. I really don't advocate getting money to get a house. That is a long-term payment, paying. No wonder it is called death payment, mortgage. It is a death payment. They are giving you something that you're going to pay for the rest of your life. I don't advocate, I don't encourage anyone getting a mortgage. One thing I always advise guys, sometimes slow growth is better than trying to rush growth. Just like when you give birth to a child, there are stages of growth, and that is how even life is. There are stages of growth when you're born. You know, the type of food that you eat, time comes that you start crawling, then you start supporting yourself to walk, and all of a sudden yes, you start walking. You pass through the stages of becoming an adult. Just imagine if there was a way to rush that process. What would it be? To be like a half-cooked human being. That is exactly what happens to try to make it so fast. Overnight success. Overnight you want to show off. That is your first job. But your first job, when you get it like this, you go you go to your bank, get a loan to get this car, because you know what? You want to show everyone now that you're earning money. You tie yourself down 5 years paying for a depreciating asset. A depreciating asset. It is not even an asset, it is a liability. Something that is depreciating. The time you drive off that lot, wherever you get your car, the time you drive off wherever you get it from, that car starts depreciating, going down in value. Why try to show off? It is your first job. Instead of consolidating that money and start planning ahead what you could do with that money. You could buy a piece of plot somewhere, probably away from town, somewhere far away from town, and you buy a plot, you have your land title, you keep quiet. Few years from now, that plot that you bought, if you choose to sell it off, it would have appreciated in value than tying up your money, your monthly income into paying debt. You don't see much because you pay debt, and then you have to take care of your bills. You don't have that flexibility. When you're renting, which I do, when you're renting, you have that flexibility. You can make a move any single time you want. It is not your property. It is not you really to stress about that property. And if anything ever happens, you can move to another place. It's not the same when it comes to a mortgage. If anything ever happens to you, the banks will say sorry, but they come and repossess that house. And the time that you spent working hard to pay for that loan, it is all vanished. So I don't advocate getting loans for anything, actually. When you're beaten once, I think there's a saying that says, beaten once, twice shy, something hard. You can't allow to be beaten twice unless you don't really learn. But if you've gone through that situation where you have had that stress with paying a loan, I would not advise you to do the same. Slow growth is better because you may fail, try and fail, but you're using your own money. It is not easy to fail using other people's money. Then people are always knocking, especially those loan sharks. They come and make your life so miserable. Some of them come and take whatever they can get their hands on. Probably they take some valuable things that you have. So think twice before you go for a loan. If you've gotten value in this small video coming from me as a business owner, I've worked for people too, I've gotten a loan, so consider subscribing to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit the like button if you like this video. Share this video to other people that can benefit from it. And consider joining our membership club by hitting the join button below. So I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.